China is there. And again, I remind you that to my knowledge the $10 billion is not an investment, it is a loan. There is an understanding that China's oil companies will be given the opportunity to take part in these investments, but that amount of money that will come in the investments is separate and will be quite separately negotiated from these loans. So yes, I see the government loans as part of this international oil policy, which is securing diplomatic and other relations with governments that provide oil and having long-term oil supply agreements. Separately but related, the national oil companies of China will hope to get investment opportunities. So that's those two. I hope that if you in Brazil know something that I apparently don't know and want to elaborate on that, please feel free to do so.
Oh, sorry. I think you are quite right. This is a loan to Petrobras, and if investment must be taken here, they have to participate in the bidding round as any other company. There is no privilege in the regime so far. So over you, Patricia. Thank you.
Okay, we have another question from a master student called Michael. He's from Austria.
Hello to everyone. Good afternoon. My question is, who is the better partner for a host government in Africa or Asia that wants to export the resources, and this government is worried about corporate social responsibility and also about the development of its own energy industry? For example, Europe, China, Brazil or Russia, who will be the best partners?
Very good question, Michael. In the short term, if you can get, as Sudan did, Chinese national oil company with lots of money, you basically can construct a major national industry with oil fields, pipelines, refineries and export routes within about 5 or 6 years. Few other companies other than a Chinese national oil company would be able to do that. So I think if you're looking in the short term, if there are not major technical challenges such as deep water in Angola, then I think going for the Chinese side, if you just want speed of development, would be the way to go, and that's clearly where Sudan has gone. Once you start to broaden the agenda and say you want not to build an industry, but you want to build your own capacity in the country to manage that industry, you want good governance, etc., etc., corporate social responsibility, then I think you have to say that working with the Chinese may not be the choice. And clearly, if it comes to very technically difficult areas, such as very deep water Angola, then you need a Western company. But, you know, the Western companies don't like to get too much involved in those things that they don't have to get involved in. So yes, they will go and explore and develop oil and gas. They will be good citizens where they. So again, I think in that question, you've got a subtle range of answers depending on what the state of play is in the country, whether you have anything there at all or whether you are building the industry from scratch, whether you have quite a mature industry that you are just developing a bit further, and the technical difficulties of exploiting those resources. So I think the question is good, there is no simple answer, and I think you have to look on a case-by-case basis. And I think ideally you have involvement of both. And Angola is a case where you have both the Western companies and the Chinese national oil companies involved. I think Sudan and Myanmar are odd cases where you just have the Chinese national oil companies and other Asian national oil companies.
Okay, thank you. Perhaps back to Brazil.
Okay, we take it from here.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Tatiane. Would you know say that China also uses its financial support for energy investment as a powerful diplomatic strategy? What are the principles and objectives of such diplomacy? Is China prepared to substitute the USA influence in Latin America and in Brazil in particular? President Obama just suggested the need for a new USA policy in the region. How the USA and also Europe can keep its leadership in the region given the strongest Chinese arrival?
What? You have to come.
My name is Paula. And Brazil will certainly increase its need for markets to place its energy products. Should Brazil become just a neutral player in the global energy markets, selling commodities, or rather taking a more political approach, build up broader partnerships?
Eu tô bem. Fala algo.
So you go ahead.
Okay.
Vou matar essa.
Okay, thank you, Tatiana. You've got to the root of a book, a book that I am writing with my colleague Roland Danreuter, and he's an international strategic studies specialist. And I suppose, what are the diplomatic impacts of China's energy strategies? And we see, and this is very provisional, 4 types of diplomatic strategy that are expressed in the energy strategy. One is the balancing the West, balancing the USA, or what some people call as a revisionist power, and maybe you can see that in its relations with the Middle East, or maybe in particularly Venezuela in Latin America. Secondly, you can see the potential for China to use energy in its regional power structures in Eastern Asia. In Africa, you might be tempted to say it's a sort of neo-imperialist power. It is using energy and other resources and the finance and activity that goes with that to build a substantial political presence in the developing states of Africa. But on the same hand, it's working with international organizations, both in